I swear to Christ, guys, if I see one more Yeti vlog, I'm gonna start taking hostages and until these things stop. Like, I think the first 3 were fine. They still weren't funny or interesting or creative, really, but the novelty of the concept made it acceptable. Now we have 8 billion of them. Every time I refresh any social media timeline, 14 more of them pop up. I've never wanted to stab a Yeti before, but oh my fucking God! Stop! Stop it! It's enough! We get the idea! It's basic economics, people. The supply side of Yeti vlogs is massively oversaturated, and the demand side is drier than your girlfriend when she thinks about anyone other than me. Eventually, the government is going to have to step in and subsidize the Yeti vlog industry and start offering subprime mortgages on Yeti vlogs, and then the economy collapses, and I'll admit this analogy has kind of gotten away from me a little bit, so let's move on. If you go back and watch this video, which one commenter described as my YouTube supervillain origin story, I was worried that we would soon be flooded by an overwhelming wave of really good AI-generated content that would make it impossible for a small creator like me to get discovered. How the f can I possibly compete with this technology? Like, what hope do I have? Why would I even try at this point? Even if my content were better, which it clearly isn't, and that gap is only going to get wider as time goes on, the sheer volume of AI-generated content is going to overwhelm me and every other small content creator on the internet right now, unless they start using these tools aggressively. But I truly underestimated the depths of human mediocrity, and I now realize that we're actually going to be flooded with really fucking terrible AI-generated content. But based on this epiphany that is fairly obvious in retrospect, I've come to a few new predictions. Prediction number 1, comedy in particular is going to take a while to automate. Listening to these Yeti vlogs, it's pretty clear to me that most of the scripts were generated using ChatGPT or some other LLM. And I'm a big fan of ChatGPT, but it is not terribly funny, at least not yet. Comedy, good comedy in particular, is way more difficult to create than, say, horror or action sequences. It is formulaic, yes, but the subversive and edgy nature of good comedy requires that it defy expectations in some way. And LLMs, by their fundamental nature, are programmed to comply with expectations. When they do deviate from norms, it's called a hallucination, and we discourage it pretty strongly. I'm not saying it'll never get there. I'm sure we'll have fully automated stand-up comedians at some point. I'm just saying that I think that those of us who are trying to make more humor-oriented content, of which I would consider myself one, have more of a runway than I had originally thought. Prediction number 2, Hollywood is cooked. Mostly because the main thing that they brought to the table was budget. Special effects, massive sets, an endless sea of extras. The economic barrier to entry for making a visually impressive sci-fi or action or fantasy film has been extremely high for a very long time. But visual spectacle is exactly the kind of thing that AI video will be able to produce easily and at a fraction of the cost. One of my favorite AI video artists right now is Gossip Goblin. Please go check them out on Instagram if you've not already. They are making phenomenal dystopian sci-fi shorts. Not only are they visually impressive, but the writing and voiceover work, it's just chef's kiss. It's a complete package.
You ended hunger, silenced pain, and mastered death. And in so doing, you became the architects of fate, beholden to nothing but your own design.
Imagine how much time and money and expertise it would have required to create even one of these shots using practical effects or CGI. Even if this guy spent $1,000 making each one of these shorts, which I doubt, given that he's doing primarily voiceover work and not relying on native speech, it would still be a fraction of the cost that it would take for a Hollywood studio to produce the same content. If this guy made a full-length video that was just this, 5 to 8 second vignette clips combined with voiceover work, I'd pay $15 to see that in theaters in a heartbeat. It's already better than most anything that Disney or Marvel are pumping out these days, and I go see movies all the time. Prediction number 3, unoriginal content creators are also cooked. And yes, I realize this prediction also overwhelmingly applies to Hollywood, so it just further proves that point. But no, I'm talking more about the new, unproven content creators who turn to AI video and treat it like a get-rich-quick scheme. Following trends, pumping out formulaic garbage, especially if they're just plugging ChatGPT prompts into VO and expecting to become an overnight sensation. Because the barrier to entry for this method of creation is extremely low, there will be an overwhelming number of people who attempt it. And the overwhelming majority of those people, like 99.999% of them, will never be monetized because the market will be oversaturated and supply will far exceed the demand for their product. And eventually they will give up. But this presents another problem because even if those people will eventually give up after, say, a few weeks or even months of effort, they will still be able to produce and upload an ungodly amount of video content in that time. And the volume of production will only accelerate as the technology improves and becomes cheaper and easier to use. Which leads me to my final prediction. Video platforms will actively disincentivize AI video uploads, and soon. If you're YouTube or Instagram or TikTok or any other major video platform, there are two major costs associated with having your platform flooded with AI slop. The first and most obvious one is that user engagement is going to plummet. If 95% of your new content is AI Yeti vlogs or something equally devoid of creativity, people are going to get sick of it, which means less engagement, which means lower ad revenue, which means you're going to be outcompeted by platforms with higher content standards. The second reason that I think most people aren't considering is that there are costs associated with hosting video content. It requires storage, it requires bandwidth, it requires processing power. These things are finite and expensive, and AI video production is already outpacing the rate at which the ability to host and manage it can be expanded. So for these two reasons, there will be a strong financial incentive for video platforms to somehow fight back against the tidal wave of AI slop. If you've not recently uploaded a video to YouTube, there's a relatively new little opt-in checkbox where you voluntarily tell YouTube if your video contains AI content. At first, I thought this was just so that YouTube could flag the video and avoid using it to train VO, as this would help them avoid model collapse, which is the AI equivalent of a human centipede Ouroboros. Preventing this would give YouTube a pretty huge market advantage against other AI video generators who are training their models on AI slop. But I think it's also because YouTube knows that they will need to penalize AI videos in some way and try to discourage them from being uploaded. Now, I don't think video platforms will be able to block AI videos entirely, given that most of the creative and talented creators will also be using AI tools, even if only in a supplementary fashion. But they're going to have to do something to throttle the upload rate. Maybe they'll limit the number of videos you can upload with AI content until you achieve monetization. Maybe there will be an application process where you submit your best AI-generated work directly to them for approval before they allow you to upload more. I don't know what it'll look like exactly, but I do predict that it's coming, and soon. This is another reason why I kind of want to move away from talking exclusively about AI content, because I don't know what disincentives they're going to roll out and how it's going to impact me. I want to have at least some content that is completely free of AI, just as a hedge against this eventuality. Something to consider if you're also a small channel focusing on AI video. Anyway, that's all I have for right now. If you got any value out of this video, please consider signing up for a membership. It's $1 and you get a bunch of cool perks. And if not that, please do share the video with someone you think might like it. Thanks very much, and I'll see y'all next time.